Hi watch friends and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dick and today we are going to take a look at the Direnzo DRZ03 Eclipse. Oh sorry, make that two Direnzo DRZ Eclipse watches. Could this watch be the perfect summer watch? Before we are going to find this out, let's have a quick wristwatch check. So today I am wearing the Direnzo DRZ04 Mondial. And this red beauty is the limited edition with the beautiful meteorite dial. It's a very special watch with a beautiful integration of the bracelet onto the case. A link to this review can be found in the link at the end of this video. So Sergio, the owner from Direnzo, was kind enough to lend me these two gorgeous looking dive watches. Just in time for the summer, as some of you are maybe already looking to find that perfect summer watch. To check the time during the happy hours at the pool bar drinking pina coladas. So I did my research for you guys at the Lago di Garda in Italy to see if the Direnzo DRZ03 Eclipse could hold his own as the perfect summer watch in the land that is known for its architecture, art, opera and fashion. So let's roll the intro and start off with a review. First impressions then. What stands out immediately with all Direnzo watches is their unique design and especially their dials and the colors that comes with it. I mean, look at this gorgeous aqua blue dial. These two Direnzo dive watches really fit in the requirements well for being that ultimate summer watch. Also this white dial version on the white tropical FKM strap from Direnzo is looking very cool and summery. This strap just elevates the white dial to a very cool style, ready to be worn in the hot sunny days at the pool. What I love with these color options are the stainless steel bezel inserts with that black inky markers in combination with the white and aqua blue dial. With the white version we can see the grey color coming back in the center part of the dial that forms the eclipse. Hence the name of the watch. If we then switch to the aqua blue version, we have a very bright and metallic-y blue color that really pops in the light. It has that kind of aqua blue hue that instantly reminds you of the color of the swimming pool. This color really shines on the wrist and both of these beauties will be covered into detail in today's review. So first impressions are positive. It wears well on my 6.7 inch wrist, the design stands out, is attractive to look at and it offers a very bright and summery look and feel on the wrist. Now let's move on and start with the case of the watch. First some specifications of the DRZ03 Eclipse. We have a 316L stainless steel case which has a diameter of 40 mm, a lug-to-lug of 48 mm and the thickness is just 12.5 mm including the slightly raised sapphire crystal. The lug width is a strapalicious 20 mm, which is great for tuning in further on that summer look or to dress it up a little bit from time to time. The case for the Eclipse is kept simple, but it has some elements that give it a very elegant and more dressy look without losing the feel of the tooly character and serious dive watch nature of this Direnzo. The Direnzo DRZ03 is like the Rolex Submariner. It looks the business on a diver wearing and using it for the job that it was built for, but it also doesn't look out of place under a suit or when enjoying the holiday at the pool or at the beach. Okay, but back to the details of the watch. It has a mixture of mostly very fine brushed parts on the side and top of the case. On the top of the case we can see a radial brushed finishing and on the side we have a horizontal brushed finishing. On top of the side of the case we have a thin beveled edge that runs over the complete side all the way to the end of the lugs and it has a elegant curvature that follows the profile of the watch. The edges are visually sharp but softened to the touch and the finish finishing is very good, which makes this watch very comfortable to wear. The case back is kept simple, and here we can find an engraved logo from Direnzo. And we can also see some information about the watch etched into the outer matte circle here. On the dial of the DRZ03 Eclipse we can see many typical design trademarks of the brand, like the bowl-shaped dial that curves up at the edge of the dial. For both the blue and the white dial version we can see a black minute marker track that follows the outer edge of the dial. It also contains a dash of color with a little orange marker at every 5-minute increments. This subtle orange splash of color makes the dial more interesting, especially on the version with the white dial. What makes this dial visually even more interesting next to the bowl shape is the fact that these dials are also stepped. Now focusing on the blue version we see the slope that bends up or down as you will, but when we let our eyes go more into the direction of the center of the dial, the metallic blue with the radial brush finishing begins to fade out more into a white, really light blue, which then meets the black ring of the stepped dial. And here we arrive at the mid part of the dial that has a completely different matte finishing that creates a soft appearance and contrast to the rest of the dial. And if we then zoom out a little bit we can see the eclipse on the dial in full effect, where a star is now covered by another celestial body that is trying to radiate the light around it. Gorgeous. This same effect can be seen on the white dial version, but here the colors and finishing of these parts on the dial are completely different. On the outer circle of the white Eclipse we have a white, almost pearlescent or glossy color that seems like to have a slightly orange hue to it. It's very subtle, but it are details like this that makes the design really shine and visually interesting and stand out even more. So it's very cool to see the attention to these details that went into this dial. And going further down the second step in the center of the dial we can see a matte finishing in a light shell grey color that gives depth and tranquility to the design. Only downside could be that the idea behind the design philosophy of an Eclipse is less visible with the white version, because the finishing here does not give the impression of radiant light that radiates behind the star of the Eclipse as much as with the blue version. Now if the visual impression of the Eclipse in the design of this DRZ03 is an important and key element in your buying decision, then there are two other colors offered that we can see here. The black and red color options are two other cool color choices that displays the Eclipse in a very clear way. All color options are available with or without a date, and now that we are discussing the date, we might as well cover another Easter egg here in the design, which can be found on almost all of the watches from Direnzo. If you look at the date placement, we can see that the date window is formed as a planet that is being eclipsed by the lollipop seconds hand. And talking about the hands, we have a simple 3-hand setup, and in the case of these two watches, a date complication as well. And the hands have a matte black finishing that ensures an excellent contrast and legibility. Zooming in further, we can see an oversized arrow hour marker that points out to the edge of the black circle of the first step on the dial, and the minute hand has a nice sword shape. Both hands are filled with a crisp white BGW9 of Swiss Superluminova, and at the 12 o'clock position we can find a hour marker followed up by the pill-shaped indexes at the non-cardinal points, and at the cardinal points at the 3, 6 and 9 o'clock position we have round indices. These indexes are raised, have a black finishing and are also filled with Swiss BGW9 Superluminova. Just under the 12 o'clock we see the logo from Direnzo, with the brand name and the birthplace of the brand, which is the beautiful Swiss city of Geneva. Going further down on the dial we see another splash of orange with the printing of the model name, which is the Eclipse, and the water resistance of this dive watch. In this case a well-tried and well-tested 200 meters or 20 ATM. On the top side we find the most important aspect of a dive watch, the bezel. And I was not disappointed here, so let's listen to the bezel action. It sounds really nice and the feeling is one of the best that I have experienced. But I need to confess that I never tried the bezel action of the Black Bay 58 before, which seems to be the benchmark for most. But this being said, this 120 click unidirectional bezel has a very pleasant haptic and it feels just nice to operate this one. It aligns well, but it does have a little bit of backplay and this gives it a score of a 9 out of 10 for me. The bezel protrudes slightly over the case and it offers a good hold when operating it because of the grippy knurling. The bezel insert is also made out of 316L stainless steel that has a radial brush finishing with nice inky black indices at the hour positions. The bezel and the whole watch actually will not going to be scratched up because of a hardness coating that bumps up the hardness from a 150 Vickers, which is normally the hardness on standard stainless steel, up to a 800 Vickers. And this will make sure that this watch will stay in a pristine condition for a very long time. The crystal is a feature that is worth pointing out here. Because the dial is raised almost at a point that the hand touches the crystal, it creates a very cool visual effect. The dial is almost touching the glass here, and I thought long on how to describe this. It seems like a little detail, but it made me think about a OLED television. Maybe this sounds crazy, but if you look at the side of an OLED television, you can still see a sharp image on the television. And that effect is apparent here as well, as you can see here. In real life, it's a very special kind of effect. Now call me a crazy Dutchman, but this was an effect that I noticed quite often during my walks and dives in Italy. So what's more to tell here? Well, it's a flat sapphire crystal and it has a good anti-reflective coating that ensure a good legibility when reading the time outdoors. The DRZ03 comes standard on a 3-link oyster style 316L stainless steel bracelet that offers a quick release system. This bracelet has a very fine and fully brushed finishing all around. We can see fine and silky smooth brushed lines and the overall look is kept simple but balanced, which suits the watch well. It is comfortable to wear and it has a nice taper from 20mm at the case down to 80mm at the clasp. The bracelet has a screw pin system for easy sizing and it has 5 micro adjustments on the clasp which should help you with finding the perfect size. If we then look on the underside, we can see a fully milled and well finished twin button release clasp with high polished bevels on the outer edge of the clasp with a brush finishing and the logo from Direnzo. Sergio also sent me these two FKM Tropic style straps from Direnzo along with the watches, and boy oh boy, that really can transform the look of these watches completely into a different look and feel. It adds even further to that summery look, but I will let the images speak for themselves to show you the different looks of these watches on the wrist. So they are very subtle, well made, comfortable and perfect to change the look on your Direnzo watch. The pin and buckle is signed and also here we can see a quick release system for easy changing. And if you want to see my personal favorite configuration, then please stay until the end of the video where I will reveal my personal favorite summer watch of 2024. At the heart of the Direnzo beats the reliable and well-proven Swiss-made Sellita SW200-1 Elaboré with the Inca Block shock protection system. This is an excellent automatic movement with a smooth beat rate of 4 Hz and the power reserve is reasonable with 48 hours and it is accurate within the minus to plus 12 seconds a day. This movement is reliable and it is used by many other watch brands and therefore has proven itself over time to be a great engine. Operating the movement, we can use the 7mm oversized screw down crown, and unscrewing the crown it gets into the first position with a nice pop. Now we can wind the watch. If we then pull out the crown to the second position, we can change the date. And if we pull out the crown to the third position, we can change the time. The winding is smooth and it is very easy to operate because of the good grippy knurling and the size. I love how the crown has a nice stance out of the case, and the finishing is quite nice with a mixture of polished and bead blasted parts. Here we can see the beautiful logo of Direnzo, which completes the look of the crown here. Now let's flick off the lights and see how the DRZ glows during the eclipse. As we already know from the other models from Direnzo, the blue hue of BGW Super Luminova is very potent, reactive, and it glows quite long during the night. But the pill-shaped indexes fade out a little bit quicker than the bigger markers at the cardinal points. This is because they are much bigger in size, and that helps with the legibility during the eclipse. I consider the DRZ03 Eclipse as one of the classics from the brand Direnzo. It is in their lineup for a longer period of time now, and they are still available. Well, almost all of them are still available because the red versions are sold out currently. But a cool and limited meteorite version is still available at the moment. The price for the non-limited versions with or without a date is 750 Swiss francs and 980 Swiss francs for the limited version, where only 80 units will be sold worldwide. All versions will come standard on the stainless steel bracelet, and you will receive a reassuring 2 years of warranty on the watch. And here we have a little sneak preview of what we can expect on the channel the coming weeks. So would the Direnzo DRZ03 be my personal choice as the perfect summer watch for 2024? Definitely. I would definitely add the DRZ03 to my collection to accompany me during the sunny summer days. So my favorite combination is the Eclipse with the white dial in combination with the white FKM strap. It looks very cool and fresh on the wrist, and even when the sun doesn't shine, which, let's be honest, it hardly does these days in the Netherlands, it can make you think back to those really nice sunny days. Now, if you want to see one of my other Direnzo reviews, then click somewhere over here or somewhere over here. Once again, my name is Dick, thank you for watching, and I will see you all on the next one. Goed weekend!